Welcome back to Kiesel News, everybody. We have quite a bit of interesting news to cover today. To start off with the first trailer for the new Sausage Party series, Sausage Party Foodtopia. The main plot doesn't seem super intriguing. It's basically just the food forming their own society, but then it gets destroyed by a flood. A flood is like the most random thing they could have chosen, no? Like, why not pick something that's toxic to food? Like, I don't know, insects or something. Like, maybe rabid insects that try to eat the food. Or certain maggots try and invade. I don't know, just something other than a flood. Once the flood does fuck up their situation, though, that's when I'm sure more of the comedy will come in, as they'll have to team up with the humans that they hate so much in order to rebuild. So, yeah, the plot isn't the strongest, but what's really funny is the cast. As for cast members, Michael Cera is back. I didn't even know that he voiced in the original, as when I watched the original, I was too young to know who he was or anything. But now seeing that he's in it, it makes me even more excited for this show. Seth Rogen is obviously back, and there's also Edward Norton. I guess he was in here too. Fuck the Hulk, man. You have Sausage Party. That's way more important of a movie. I mean, it kind of was, because no one remembers the Edward Norton Hulk movie. Like, no one recalls of it fondly whatsoever. There's also going to be a new character named Julius, who is an orange, ha 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 ha, so fucking hilarious, played by Sam Richardson, whose latest animated role was actually Shaggy from Velma, so that makes me super excited to see his performance. He also voiced in Rise of the TMNT, and had live-action roles in Good Boys and Horrible Bosses, so he's really 3 for 1 at least. I don't know if the common consensus is that Good Boys was good, but I certainly thought it was funny, especially when I watched it like 4 years ago. Definitely didn't deserve all the controversy it had with the R rating. But anyways, we'd be here all day if we went over the whole cast. I mean, obviously we don't need to go over Seth Rogen. He's had so many roles, and he's the main producer. He's obviously going to do good in this movie. But one thing I did notice is that Will Forte, along with Sam Richardson for sure, were both in Clone High, and Will Forte also played Shaggy in the 2020 Scoob movie. So they're just finding actors who have played similar roles, it seems like. Will Forte was also in Good Boys as well. What the hell? These people have worked together so much. Yeah, we'd be here all day if I went over every cast member, but those are the main ones that I found funny. There's also Natasha Rothwell in a new role, and she was primary on The White Lotus, so that's interesting. The other new cast member, Yasser Lester, I apologize if I butchered that, is interestingly, he doesn't have much of an acting filmography, interestingly. He actually is set to be the executive producer and writer for Armor Wars, but honestly, who knows if Armor Wars is still happening at this point. It was announced back in 2020. We haven't heard any real updates on it since, aside from that it got turned from a series into a movie. So maybe this is his only new gig now. That was a long-ass sausage... Well, pause on that. That was a long-ass Sausage Party segment, but we're finally moving on to our next story, which is that Inside Out 2 is projected to be the biggest film in the year in terms of box office openings, getting 85 million. Now, obviously, this is just a projection, and the projections are often off, but still, I say this every time Inside Out 2 is brought up, but why is it so big? No one talked about it until the sequel was announced. Like, I think Encanto had more staying power. Luca had more staying power. Like, really, any of these recent Disney movies, they actually had an impact on culture. And I don't remember Inside Out having any impact. And now everyone's just super hyped for the sequel. If it can pass Dune, I'll be impressed. And also, I'll be depressed. I'll be impressed and depressed, because I'll have to listen to people absolutely glaze this movie, if Dune 2 is any indication. People couldn't shut up about Dune 2 on Twitter for like 2 weeks. Inside Out will be even worse if this is the case. But hey, maybe the movie will at least be good. Next up, we have assurance that Pixar will not be making live-action remakes. Now, this news coming right after the news yesterday of the Lilo & Stitch remake releasing this year is pretty funny. I know that Disney and Pixar are obviously different, so they're not gonna follow the exact same principles, but it's just funny, you know? One side of the company is completely against it, while the other is actively producing more live-action than animation. I think Pixar will stick to it, though. As they say, it would be tough for them to do all their movies in live action. Like Disney, basically all their movies follow a human protagonist. But Pixar, a lot of them don't, so it would be a lot more awkward to do live action remakes. Next, we have an update on future The Boys content. So we're getting multiple seasons of Gen V, the first spin-off, multiple other spin-offs are planned, and season 5 is now apparently going to be the last one of the main Boys series? What? Dude, the story keeps fucking changing. First, they had planned for 5 seasons. Then, they were planning no ending. Then they confirmed that they had an ending in place, but had to extend it beyond 5 seasons. And now here we are, it's concluding with 5 seasons again. Is it just going to keep going in a cycle? Next thing you know, the series ends at season 4, and Stan Edgar turns into Gus Fring or some shit. In yet another piece of film news, we have the first trailer for The Wild Robot debuting today. Now, it focuses very heavily on the wild robot's relationship with the duck that she adopts, and I remember the book focusing on that a lot, but I really wasn't expecting that heavy of an emphasis in the trailer, especially for the first one. But it does also just focus on her island life as well. Regardless of that, though, the movie does just seem to be a one-to-one adaptation of the book, which certainly isn't a bad thing. The story is perfect as is, and is already in a good format to be adapted into a movie. The chapters are just little short segments, like basically one little scene per chapter, 80 chapters. I think that fits a movie, you know? Also, at the end of the trailer, she unironically says, "I am the wild robot." Like, that sounds like all those memes where it's like, and at the end of the movie, Morbius said, "I am the Morbius," or "I am the insert title here." Like, it's just so forced. Next up, we have news that Arcane Season 2 is going to be the final season, and we got a new trailer for it. While it's sad to see a well-received gaming-related show come to an end, I trust that it's because of story reasons. I never watched Season 1. It is on my watch list, though. I've heard that it's really good. I just found out that Yuri Lowenthal's in it, so yeah, that's more good points towards it. There was also additional news today that despite Arcane ending, there are plans for multiple other League of Legends shows coming out pretty soon. So I think they should take the opportunity to do a Tyler 1 animated documentary. His journey from League of Legends to chess to AI. It's Tyler 1. Attention everyone! Apparently there's gonna be a Nintendo Direct June 18th. I think this rumor makes sense. I'm gonna choose to have some copium. I don't know if I believe the reasoning was because an Among Us trailer launched too early. I know that did happen. As I saw the trailer, it was announcing new roles for the game. But how did that leak the date? Because there was no date of June 18th mentioned in the description of the trailer or nothing. So I don't know. But no, I still think it's gonna happen June 18th. I mean, if the next Switch Online maintenance really is on the 17th, that just lines up. And the 18th is a Wednesday, so there you go. That's usually when they have the directs. A waitress was apparently fired after posting a video of a customer eating with a blow-up doll. Now, come on, lady. For one, just be happy that they weren't eating out the blow-up doll in the restaurant. And two, you're filming someone without their consent. What do you expect? I don't care how weird someone's being. As long as they're not doing anything illegal, you shouldn't be allowed to film them. Like, okay, if you saw a little girl sitting with a 60-year-old man at a restaurant, and they didn't look like they had any relationship with each other, like relative-wise, then maybe you could film them then so you can hand it over to the cops. But don't just film someone to put it on TikTok. If that picture on the right there is from her apology video, man, she really looks like Logan Paul there. I can just picture the "I'm sorry" title. A YouTuber is running for Prime Minister in the UK. Now, I don't know enough about UK politics to really know if this is a good thing or not, but I do know that a lot of people are against the current Prime Minister. One of the main reasons being that he brought back mandatory military service for 18-year-olds, which I can definitely see why that set some people off. When I turn 18, I do not want to go into the military, I can tell you that right now, and it should definitely not be enforced upon anyone. I also know that this YouTuber has history with politics, placing 5th in the London mayoral election. While that is impressive, if he couldn't even make top 3 municipal-wise, I think he doesn't stand a chance on the federal side. Especially with his YouTube career consisting of comedy and prank videos, I don't know if he's cut out for it. Comedy would be no problem, as then we would just have someone to compete with Trump and Biden for most presidential memes. But it's the fact that he did prank videos, the fucking scum of the early YouTube. The majority of pranks were fake, so if he was doing fake pranks, I don't know if you should trust him to be your fucking prime minister. Who says that he's not fake all the way through? A guy named Optimus Prime was fucking arrested for car theft. First of all, how the fuck did he get the name Optimus Prime? It must have been a name change, right? Well, I have a theory, a YouTuber theory, and that's that Logan Paul is behind this, and he made the guy change his name. My reasoning for this, Optimus Prime is in a forest in the photo. And his last name is Prime, which is 2 things related to Logan Paul. I cracked the code. KSI is rumored to be a backup guest judge for Britain's Got Talent. Now, how fucking insulting is that title? Backup guest judge? You're the backup of the backup, bro. So Lily Singh can get full-on with Canada's Got Talent on the same level as Howie Mandel, and KSI can't even get the guest judge. KSI would give way more viewers to tune into the show than Lily Singh with Canada's Got Talent. But to be fair, maybe they just shoehorned in Canada's Got Talent anyway because no one already watches it. It's like the only Got Talent show that doesn't feature Simon in any way. Howie's the mastermind there. The potential of this actually happening, though, really excites me, as we would finally get an interaction between Simon Cowell and KSI. That's an interaction I did not know I wanted, but I feel like it would just end in a fucking disaster screaming match. Nick A30 Fortnite skin, baby. Yeah, amazing.